good friend and dear sister, Angel Tweet, with Jungle Medicine. Hey, Angel.
Hey, Michelle. How are you this
Good morning.
morning?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Enjoying our sunshine.
And you are in beautiful
We are in Costa Rica. It's dry
Costa.
season here, but we had this crazy storm last night and it rained for hours. So it was actually quite beautiful. Although I was like, this isn't supposed to be happening right now.
That's unusual. How long is it usually
Oh,
dry?
yeah.
How long is the dry
Usually,
season?
usually it's dry from like the end of November until April.
Okay, so that is
So, and
unusual.
it hasn't been, as we all know, the weather systems are changing and it's always a surprise. So we had a couple leaks, how it goes in
Yeah,
Costa
yeah. I hear you. We had snow on Christmas Day in Florida. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And, we're being shaken up a little bit all over the place, I think.
she is. Mother Earth has given us a shake up for sure.
It's it. It's
We
it
love
for
her.
sure.
All right, let's talk about Jungle Medicine. What you got going on down there and what's coming up?
Awesome. So, Om Jungle Medicine is situated on 17 hectares or 40 acres of jungle. We've created a small healing center there that we've really kept as close to nature as possible. So we have an original temple, which is called the Maloka. And, we grow our own foods and we grow our own fruits. And we really are focused on community healing and bringing together strangers that become friends that by the end of the week become family and building a community of healing and keeping it as true to nature and without commercialism. So I guess that sets us apart from a lot of retreat centers. You will never find coffee mugs or t-shirts with our name on it. We really believe that the medicine is the star of the show and needs to be represented like that.
Mm,
So everything is truly authentic and heart-centered. Yeah.
okay, I love this.
Um,
Before you talk about your upcoming retreats, can you tell everybody else, because we've talked about what brought you to the medicine, because I think you have a really incredible story.
I had a miraculous healing um, a few years back with ayahuasca. After 4 nights of medicine and really diving deep into my trauma, it was the hardest thing I've ever experienced in the medicine. In my life, going back to some trauma that I thought was resolved with 20 years of therapy and then becoming a psych nurse so that I could understand myself better. And still, these traumas were still affecting my daily life. And I didn't see them as the trauma affecting my life. I just couldn't get my shit together. I was attracting the wrong men. I was sabotaging myself. As soon as things would get good, I would pull away and run away, and it was showing up in my life, and I had multiple sclerosis, and I had been very ill for a number of years. I was paralyzed for a number of years in a wheelchair. I was blind in my left eye. I had 14 brain lesions and a couple spinal lesions, and life got pretty dark for me. And fast forward, when I got to the medicine, I was using canes and I couldn't see out of my left eye. I was legally blind in incredible amounts of pain. So I had to come off of a lot of medication to come to the medicine, which I didn't realize when I booked. And so that was a journey in itself, really a journey of self-discovery and how resilient the human body can really be when we really want to heal. So
Hmm.
nothing is impossible. At the end of my first ceremony, I was walking unassisted without a cane. I could see out of my left eye. I was no longer in pain, and I've never had to go back on any of the medication. Spirit gave me a plan that was gifted to me in small little pieces as I went through. And when I got home back to Canada, I said to my husband, we need to move to Costa Rica because this is clearly my medicine. And we sold everything, packed up, and moved. And
That's
then here
amazing.
we are, 4 years later, um, almost 4 years now since we've been here, and we bought land, and things just unfolded in a very beautiful way. Not to say not without challenges. We all have challenges.
Sure. Hmm.
But I really knew that my purpose was to help people find their own healing.
Hmm.
So
And you're
yeah,
definitely doing that. How
the
about the MS and your symptoms? Anything?
nothing. I did visit my neurology team and my doctor before I left Canada, and there are no signs that I've ever had multiple sclerosis. I mean, I have
Absolutely
one brain
incredible.
lesion that is calcified. I live a symptom-free life, and I healed the trauma, which helped heal the disease in my body. You know, they say when there's dis-ease in the
Hmm.
spirit, it creates disease in the body. And I was able to release that. So
It's
I'm
incredible.
here, you know, to give hope and
Yeah.
to give the prayer of healing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing that. All right, let's talk
Yeah.
about jungle medicine and what you got
Um,
going on down there.
yeah. So is a unique healing center. I've worked really hard to build bridges to Indigenous communities that haven't left the jungle before.
Mhm.
So last year, I worked with the Yawanawa tribe from Brazil, who we brought to and they had never been out of Brazil before. So it was really super cool to learn from these Brazilian tribes. They believe in
Hmm.
healing through the lens of joy, that we don't need to heal through suffering. We don't need to sit in the suffering, that, as we know, pain is inevitable, but the suffering is optional, and we don't have to marinate in that like we do.
This seems
And
to be a reoccurring theme. This seems to be a reoccurring theme lately that you don't have to learn through suffering. You can learn through joy and love.
exactly. Once our frequency
Mm,
is raised, healing is happening. So, how we choose to process that, how we choose to engage in our healing, you know, if we want to lay there and suffer, it's our choice. We always have a choice, but there is a different way. There is a way, and in speaking with these many tribes now in Brazil, to them we are just crazy. Like, why would you choose suffering? And I think it's really we're conditioned to believe that from the time we're young children. You know, money doesn't grow on trees, no pain, no gain. But that's not fair.
mm.
Life isn't fair. You know, we're always bombarded with this idea that everything good has to be hard, and
Yeah.
we start believing that, and it's just not the
Well, you better
case.
learn it from an early age.
Right,
You better learn
right.
that lesson now. Life is not fair.
Life is not fair. I don't know how many times I've said that to my older children, like, "Suck it up, life isn't fair," you know?
Suck it up,
And
Buttercup.
it's just simply not
Mhm.
true.
It's not.
So it's been really interesting, and since that time, I've been working with, the Shenandoah tribe, the Huni Queen tribe, the Kuntanawa tribe, and it's been a beautiful undoing of everything I thought that I knew, which is beautiful when that happens. And I know nothing, and you know, I know this much about anything, and so I'm really grateful to always be learning on this path. And so we connect with these tribes, and we work with them, and we help them to come to Costa Rica, to to share their wisdom, to share this knowledge of joy. And it's really easy for us to connect to pain. It's super easy for us to connect to pain. When somebody is going through a really hard time, we connect to pain. We get it. We understand what they're going through. And if someone is like super joyful, we're like, what's wrong with them? Like, what the hell? What are they on?
Why
Are
is
they
he so
high?
happy?
Why is he so happy? We have a hard time connecting to joy, and we think it should be the opposite in our mind.
Mhm.
But truly, it's really hard because we don't feel worthy of joy. We don't feel good. I'm really sorry. We have a new
It's
rescue.
okay. He's invited too.
We have
Leia's
a new rescue,
invited too.
and she doesn't know how to bark. She howls. So I'm sorry in
That's okay.
advance.
It's quite all right.
So it's been a really beautiful experience to engage with these tribes who come to teach us a new way to heal. So for anyone that's ever sat in medicine, a Brazilian ceremony is unlike anything you've ever experienced. And I want to say that all the traditions are beautiful. The Peruvian, the Ecuadorian, the Colombian, they all have their
Mhm.
place and they all are perfect in their way. Because we all seem to live in so much stress and so much suffering, I think these Brazilian medicines are just beautiful because they allow us to experience joy through the medicine. So their ceremonies involve a lot of chanting. So they teach you their chants. We have a circle, we chant
Mm.
together, we dance together, they play music all night. And it's not to say that there aren't times during the ceremony that are challenging, and you might be on your mat and you might be in it, curled up in the fetal position, just feeling all of the feels. But it's a choice because at any time you can get up and dance and you can move that energy and you can free yourself. Once we have awareness of that trauma and once we feel it, we can let it go. And letting go is the hardest part for us,
Mhm.
letting
Mhm.
go of
Yeah.
pain. It's comforting to us. We know what to expect. So these ceremonies
Familiar.
are, yeah, it's familiar to us. So these ceremonies are super, super exciting. And we have several tribes joining us throughout the summer. The first one up is the Shinanawa tribe. The Shinanawa tribe comes on the 15th, and they're going to be here for the month. And
Okay.
it's super exciting. So, a shaman in the Brazilian tradition is called a page. And so, Page Mana, who is going to be joining us and leading the ceremonies, was born into the role of a page. So from the time he was born, his father and grandfathers are pages. So he knew from a very young age that this was his mission in life.
Mm.
So he's been groomed and taught by the elders of the village. He was born in the village. He lives in the village, and this is his life. Um, He's been serving medicine for 16 years, and after 15 years was finally granted permission to step outside of the village to serve. So that says a lot about that tradition and really the path that he had to walk to get there. And he's done several diets in the medicine, which is in isolation and meditation and drinking medicine every other day and diving into the prayer of that medicine. So we're super excited to have him on January 20th to 26th in a week-long retreat. And in that retreat, you will have 3 nights of ayahuasca. You will have rapé, which is an indigenous tobacco, and there's a whole ceremony. Rapé is very important to the Brazilians. They make the rapé. So the rapé served will be medicine that they made. And we will be having fire ceremonies, sananga, integration sessions. It's just going to be learning about the face painting of the people. So in Brazil, they use a special paint and it's derived from the seeds of a tree and it's colorful and they paint their faces in such a way that it protects them and calls in the good spirits.
Mm.
Super, super beautiful. And if anyone is really suffering, I suggest that they try to get to one of these retreats because it is truly magical. You feel so exhilarated and so full of joy, and it's a feeling we're not used to. And so I
Mhm.
encourage everybody to come. Um, that
That's
is on,
very cool because
yeah,
sometimes these ayahuasca ceremonies are not so joyful, and that's okay because that's
yeah,
what's supposed to be. But I love that the purpose is to find the joy.
yeah. It's really
Yeah.
to connect to ourselves and to really fall in love. Like often say to everybody that comes, my greatest joy is when somebody leaves and they fall in deeply in love with themselves. They've fallen in love with who they are in the moment, not the potential of
Yes.
when I
Right.
get this job, when I quit smoking, when my husband quits drinking, all of these things, we tend to fall in love with the potential of people and ourselves instead of loving the mess that we're in. And that's where the beauty is when we begin to learn to love all the parts of ourselves that we think are unlovable.
Hmm.
And so it's a really, really exciting time. And I really want healing to happen on this planet. And I really want nobody to be able to be left behind because of financial reasons. So we are offering a scholarship program for this retreat, which is January 20th to 26th. And our scholarship will be more than $1,000 off. So our regular retreat price
Wow.
is 2,022, and we're offering $1,111, which is
Wow.
50% off. for candidates who reach out to me and say, hey, I really feel called to this. I really feel called. I really need healing, and try to get one of our scholarship spots. And we have a couple
That's amazing.
available. So yeah, we're super excited, and it will cover our costs at home and cover the medicine, and that's it. And that's what we're here for, after all, is to help bring healing to the planet. And
Mhm.
although everybody needs to be abundant, we're all here trying to make it in this world, but at the end of the day, at home, healing always comes first. So I'm excited to see if people are going to reach out and grab one of these spots up. I think I
Yeah,
have
I
two
mean, what
left.
an opportunity. I mean, that's an enormous opportunity. And being someone who could not afford these medicines myself, when I started down this journey, it's difficult. So an opportunity like that should be jumped on immediately. Yeah.
Kalia, no. And I think
Cutie pie.
I think that, having a week in a ceremony and having really targeted integration sessions and being able to really flow and roll with your emotions as they come up and be supported during that process is super,
Mhm.
super imperative.
Mhm.
For sure, the work that we do after the ceremony is the most important work. The medicine gives you a portal or a keyhole to be able to access your own healing, to be able to access your pain and to let it go. The medicine is not a quick fix. It is not going to make you better overnight, but it's going to allow you a portal to your own healing. So it's important to take those lessons that we learn in the medicine, the ideas that we get, the inspirations that we receive, and what we're going to do with it now. Are we going to go back to our old patterns? Are we going to go back to our old ways? After medicine, you're very elated. So it's very easy not to do the work. And I've done this myself. It's very easy to come out and you feel so connected to nature. You feel so connected to yourself. You've forgiven your mom. You've done all this work. And then what ends up
Right.
happening is, in this window of bliss, you just carry on with life. And then you find yourself back at the Maloka doing more medicine, because you didn't do the work. And people will say, well, what is the work? People always talk about this work. What
What
the
is the
hell is
work?
what is the work? The work is finding that trauma and how is it affecting your life today, and then going there. So the medicine gives us these viewpoints and lets us see things as a whole from a higher perspective. And the medicine might say to you, like, it's time to clean up your act. It's time to stop partying. It's time. So if you come out of the medicine and you feel really good and it lasts a couple of weeks, but you don't take any action, well,
Mhm.
nothing's going to change, right? If you, I like to refer to it as, we go to university, right? We go to the universe the night of medicine. And if you're in university and you don't do your homework, you failed the grade, man. You're going back. And it really seems to be the way. We really have to take the information that is given to us in ceremony and now make the change that's necessary. You have the tools and you have the understanding and you know what's there, and now it's time to take it. In one ceremony, I used to drink a lot of diet soda, like a lot. Every day I'm drinking Diet Coke. And in one of my ceremonies, I had this vision and I was being choked, and I was literally choking, like in ceremony, like coughing and choking. And I'm like, and someone's like, are you okay? Like, a helper came up, are you okay? And I'm like, no, like, I'm choking on this like 2-liter plastic bottle. Well, the universe was telling me, like, you're putting poison in your body. You are killing yourself. You must stop. So I had the choice after that, right? Was that just some vision? Do I stop drinking diet soda? Was it, I made the decision to stop drinking diet soda because I had a direct message that this was not good for me. It was hurting me. And so that's what I mean. So we take the messages that we're given and we treat it like it's homework. Like, these are the tools now that I need to move forward with to change,
Mhm.
because things just don't happen on their own, right?
They don't. Mark always says the medicine is the catalyst, and it's the integration, and it's the work afterwards. That's where it really,
Mhm.
that's where it is. The medicine's the easy part.
Exactly. It, easy is a different word, but I mean, so sometimes I had this big challenging experience and like I did the work, that was the work, and it's not. And the work is really understanding that we need to evolve, and evolution is what it's all about. Even if tomorrow you just do 1% better than you did today, you're evolving. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
if you just stop having whatever that is for you, the thing that you need, complaining. Like, I'm just going to try to fast on complaining for 24 hours. And we often do this as a family. It's like, okay, who's in 24 hours?
I love that.
The first one to complain has to do this, or the last one gets dinner out, and really try and it really brings awareness to how much we complain about the weather, we complain that the traffic is bullshit, we complain that the lineup in the store is too much. We get into a cycle of constant complaining, and so it's a beautiful time to have that awareness and just make tiny changes in your life. Sometimes they're grandiose, right? Sometimes you come at a ceremony, you're like, I need to do this and do this. We do say do not make any life-changing decisions for 2 weeks when you come out of the
Yes.
medicine. Really let yourself ride that
Yes.
for sure. Because I mean, you don't want to, the medicine told me I need to sell my house, I need to quit my job, I
Right.
need to do
Divorce
this,
my
right?
husband.
Right? No. So we really want to really sit with the medicine, because later more things are revealed, clearer things are revealed. So yeah, we're super excited to help people dive into their healing, be supported. We have 17 hectares. We have amazing pods in shared rooms and a beautiful swimming pool, and really a place that you can connect deeply to yourself, connect deeply to nature. And we never make time for ourselves. A lot of us don't like being alone. It feels uncomfortable for us. So it's a real time to uncover those sticky parts of ourselves that we feel are unlovable, and kind of get into the shadow and realize that sometimes those parts that we think are unlovable are our greatest gift that we have for the world, and they've been stuck and repressed deep down. So I'm so excited to be doing this work, and I'm just thrilled to be joining you here and to help people discover. And maybe ayahuasca is not your medicine, maybe
Mhm.
sound is your medicine, maybe there's so many
Sure.
different modalities, and to always follow your heart, because we never want to feel like we're pushing somebody into a ceremony ever. You really want to feel into your heart. Your heart always knows the way home. It will always make the right decision when you let it, without your
Mhm.
head getting involved. Yeah.
100%.
Uh-huh.
100%. Yeah. I think what you're doing down there is amazing. You and I met at the very beginning of the plant medicine path over a year ago, and I remember hearing your story then and thinking, wow, this is amazing. I mean, everybody always talks about ayahuasca and it healing spiritual and mental maladies, but it's very much for physical maladies as well.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah.
It is, and I mean, when I first discovered, the reason I went was because I had done so much research on ayahuasca and the physical healing, and that's all I was interested. I did not go there to heal spiritually, to evolve, or do any of it. I strictly went there to heal this physical disability. I thought I was all good. I thought I was all good. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
what
and I
happens, right?
That's what happens. But I know that people will come with a physical limitation and really feel like they're coming to the medicine for that. And make no mistake, you must heal the trauma before the physical body gets healed. You must really be willing and open to get radically honest with yourself about why you're here and what trauma has caused this in your body, whether it is addiction or a physical ailment. You have to go in with no room for doubt. If you're here to heal, you got to get deep. You got to get into that core wound, and you got
Yep.
to heal it, and you got to open up to it. And only then can the physical body heal if it's meant to heal during these ceremonies. Is every
Yep.
single person going to find physical healing? Absolutely not.
Hmm.
Um, may you find
Right.
physical healing? Absolutely,
Hmm. Right.
So
Right. Right. Right.
it's really where you are on your spiritual path,
Hmm.
what's destined for your life. but always knowing for me that I did everything possible to be able to heal. And for me, that was releasing some of the trauma that I was holding on so tightly to, especially when it comes to autoimmune stuff where they don't know the etiology of the disease. So
Mhm.
nobody really knows why it's there to begin with. They can't
Right.
figure that out. And so some of these chronic diseases just hold tight. And I'm so blessed to have followed my heart and listened to my intuition and just said, fuck it to what everybody else thought and
I
just
love
went.
it. And
Yeah.
what do your neurologists back home think now? What do they think of this?
So there, my GP was really amazed. I had walked into her office after never being able to even get to her door in the clinic by myself. She was in tears. She said, you've made me had to rethink everything I thought I knew about medicine, everything. My neurology team was not so much. They
Not so
basically
impressed.
it basically said I had a spontaneous remission where anybody knows multiple sclerosis, it's a progressive disease and you don't revert going backwards. It always moves forward. So they didn't have a lot to say, and that's okay because they didn't have to because this is in their awareness now.
Yeah.
And more doctors are really understanding the benefits. We're just starting. They're doing a lot of work right now with ayahuasca and Alzheimer's and
Mhm.
Parkinson's and learning how ayahuasca is healing the brain. It's amazing, amazing medicine on the science side and on the spiritual side. So it's a great combination. I really
Mhm.
have such a deep heart space for this medicine and the healing that it provides. And in these tribes in the Amazon, I mean, the Brazilian tribes, they drink medicine every Saturday night as a community, old to
And they
young.
start young, right? Right? Right?
In most of the Brazilian communities, it's around 10 to 12 years old.
Mhm.
Um, and then you're not holding on to that trauma. So the grandmas are in ceremony, the moms who have babies, the babies, it's a family event
Mhm.
and they heal together in community. And I think we're really missing that. There's such a disconnect, and we're really missing our sisters and our brothers. And to be together, we become so isolated. We've become so separate from each other. Um, so I'm really glad that we can use the internet as a tool instead of a weapon. Often the internet is used as a weapon, and
Mhm.
we have the choice to clean up our Facebook, to clean up our pages and only allow good things in. We have that choice. If we don't subscribe to the other bullshit, it's not going
Mhm.
to be there for long. You
Right?
know, the consumer does have the power to stop consuming bullshit.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. 100%. The medicine shows us that. It showed me
Mhm.
that. Mhm.
Yeah.
100%.
And I'm so excited for what you and Mark are doing in Florida and this beautiful conscious community that you're creating. I mean, when we started talking, your page had just started, and I think there was 2,000 people on there, and now there's 7,000. And it just makes my heart so happy that this conscious community is growing, and you have teachers and leaders and facilitators and people to help you with microdosing and all of these beautiful modalities. And it takes these conscious communities. This is what changes the planet.
It is. It's what changes the planet, and it's getting the information out there, getting ethical information out there. And I
Yeah.
always put on all of my posts, rethink what you know. Rethink what you know because you think you know something. I thought I knew something. The first time I heard about ayahuasca, I heard about, going to the jungle and drinking some kind of psychedelic concoction that would make my alcoholism go away. And I thought, that's the craziest, stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, I've been in AA for 15 years. That's ignorant. You don't go take a hallucinogenic. So you
A
have to
drug,
rethink what
right?
you know. You have to rethink what you know
Right.
because what we're taught, that's just a story. It's not the truth. It's
Yeah.
not the truth.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. We're conditioned to believe the stories, and we're always making up stories. Every day we look at someone across the room, we're making up a story. We're always creating stories because that's what our beautiful brain does. It creates stories. And it's really, really important to understand that healing happens when you let go of the story. I mean, even with my kid, she's 13, and I love, as parents, I quickly will say no, like before the words even come out. No.
Mhm.
And I love to be able to say, like, convince me. Change my mind. Change my mind.
Mm.
My answer was
I bet
no, but
she
if you
loves that challenge.
change my mind, right? You can change my mind. Yeah, let's do it. I think it's super important to always be flexible, because when we talk about judgment and people are like, I don't judge, I don't judge. A judgment is only an opinion about one thing.
Hmm.
That's it.
One thing.
When you've made an opinion, you've formed an opinion, it's a judgment. It means you're not open anymore to hear anything else. So we all judge. We do it. It's what we do. We're humans. We can have awareness and really realize most of the time when we're judging another, it's a reflection on something that we need to work on. I remember when I was brand new in the medicine, I would say to my husband, like, if you just meditated, like, here's a guided meditation. If you just meditated, maybe you should go for a walk on the beach. Maybe you should do this. And then my teacher said, mind your own fucking spiritual business.
I love that.
Why don't you go meditate? Whenever you
Right.
want to tell him to meditate, you meditate instead. Huh? Then the healing
Yeah.
happens.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
it's so
Right.
true. Like we need to when we catch ourselves doing that, flip the switch. Right?
Always. We used to
Yeah,
say, I used to be told in AA, if I'm pointing one finger at somebody else, I got three pointing back at myself. So pay attention
that's
to that.
and it's awareness. I mean, we're not gonna fix all of the conditioning that we've had for our whole life in one ceremony or in one day. But what does happen is we have the awareness of it now. So as I might be judging somebody, which I do because I'm fucking human, I
Right.
catch myself now, and now I can correct it, and now I can have a look and say, why was I doing that?
Mm.
In the beginning of my path, I battled my weight, and it was really, really hard for me. And I would see somebody who was overweight wearing a certain thing, and my heart would sink, and I'd be like, why? Like, why are they wearing that? Like, don't they have a full length mirror? And
Oh
then
my God. Me too.
right? And then I catch myself, and it's like, because I would never feel comfortable wearing that, because I feel her pain for what people might be saying about her. And when I realized it was really about me, then things change.
Mm.
And you can see the change happening, because now someone will walk by and maybe a friend will say, hey, did you see her? And I'm like, no, I don't see it anymore because I'm healing. And so it's a beautiful thing. Awareness
That's
is a gift.
beautiful, Angel.
Yeah, it's a gift, to really, the more we love ourselves and the more we have compassion for ourselves and realize that we are worth it and we're allowed to take up fucking space. We're allowed to take up space. Things change and things unfold and healing happens. So super exciting times, Michelle. And I can't wait for you guys to
Very
come and
cool.
join us here. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we're
the path
excited.
is
I appreciate you coming on here and talking about the Om Jungle, about all of it. We're going to have the information on the retreat on the plant medicine path. You can go to the website and get it. You can get in touch with us, and we'll get you in touch with Angel. Um, Mark and I are going to come down there. I'm going to come down and go to the women's retreat myself, though, because I think that's an incredible opportunity, and we as sisters need to join together, which kind of brings me to my last point before we get off here. We're gonna you and I are gonna do a series together, a women's series. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so we're going to do a three-part series in women in healing and what it means to be a woman living in today's world, and what it means to have had masculine wounding and all of the things that women go through privately and in a safe container. So it will be an invite only. So you will provide us with your email. It's a free event, and we just want us to gather and talk about women and talk about how healing works for us, and give us a chance to tell our story, give us the chance to vent a little bit, and then we stop telling that story. That's the key, right? It's time for a
That's
new
the
story.
key.
It's time for a new story, a story of healing and a story of undoing and unraveling and becoming more ourselves, not somebody else. Often people will say after medicine, like, oh, he completely changed. I'm like, no, no, no. He just became himself, you know?
Yes.
He just became
Right.
more
Get rid of
himself.
the bullshit and became the most authentic version of myself.
Yeah, yeah. So the series is going to be super powerful, and we're going to be diving into all kinds of things women. It'll be broken up into 3 parts, so we're super excited. And also at that time during the series, we're going to be giving dates for our all women's retreat, which hands down is the most beautiful, true healing I think a wounded woman can go to, because whether you want to believe it or not, healing happens in a different way when it's all women. We are
Yes.
biological beings.
Yep.
So male and female energy have a biological chemistry that happens, and we aren't able to maybe be our full authentic self for several reasons. And one of them is fear. If we had a traumatic childhood or sexual abuse or rape or issues with our fathers or any of those masculine wounds, when we sit in a ceremony, no matter how healed we think we are, sometimes there's that tiny space in the back of us that won't totally surrender because they're afraid. And so this is a space where we take that one element out, and it makes all the difference. So I'm super excited for this series, and I'm super excited for the women's retreat. And yeah, all things to come. So yeah,
Yeah.
please reach out to Michelle if you want to take one of our scholarship spots, and we'll get you all hooked up to sit with the indigenous tribe from the Amazon. It's going to be, aside from going right to their village, this is the closest you're going to get. They have never left their village before. They have never left the
That's
country
incredible.
before. So they're coming straight to Ohm. So we're super, super excited, and excited to keep you updated on how that all unfolds, Michelle.
Very cool. We're excited to keep up with it. Something new that we're going to be starting here that maybe we can do with your retreat. Your next retreat is boots on the ground during the retreat. So we can take a look around. Somebody who's never been to a retreat before can see exactly what's going on. And then
Yeah,
certainly we'll talk afterwards. And I'm really looking
sure.
forward to our series with women. We will have information coming out very soon on the Plant Medicine Path page about how you can participate in that. And just thank you. You are an amazing,
Yeah,
amazing
Michelle,
person, what you're
thank
doing. I
you.
just love you. I can't
I
wait
love
to see you
you
in
too.
person.
I love you too, and I'm super stoked. And together we heal, right? We can't do it separately, but together we are a fucking force.
We are a
And
fucking
together
force.
we raise the collective vibration of this planet. So
We're
haush
doing it.
haush is what the Brazilians say instead of aho. It's haushi haush, and it means
Housey house.
amen. Haushi haush.
Housey
Mwah.
house.
Much love to you,
Right.
sister.
You too. We'll be in touch.
Say, okay.